I presented a paper at a conference on Nazism. My paper was on Adolf Hitler's speeches and views on a particular seemingly innocuous topic, and how those views related to the Holocaust. I had prepared the paper with meticulous scholarly research. The conference participants held a practice session to determine where we would sit and in what order we would speak. There were a number of chairs lined up behind the table, perhaps 7. I sought a seat at the center, but it was already taken. I moved to the left, but those seats were all taken. I moved to the right, and finally found a seat on the far right. Once we were ready for the actual presentation, we filed into what looked like a cultural hall in a Mormon church. It was like a gymnasium with fold-up chairs set up in it, and a stage at the back. My parents had come to hear me speak. The speakers lined up behind the listeners, who were all facing forward, away from the speakers. The speakers were separated from the listeners by a thin, see-through veil. I wondered if some projection apparatus would project an image in front of them, but that was not the case. We simply had microphones so they could hear what we said. Just as I had at the rehearsal, I searched for my place, first going to the center, then to the left, and finally finding my place at the far right. I knew the center seat was not mine because the panel moderator had placed his raincoat and umbrella there, just as during the rehearsal. I had not brought my books with me. I panicked at first, until I realized that everything I needed I had already typed into the paper. I was on my way home from the conference, being flown in a private jet. Adolf Hitler and a fat assistant of his had somehow managed to get on the plane. After it landed, we left and went into the airport. Hitler threatened me with a gun. I had an assistant who aided me. There was a struggle. I got the gun and shot and killed Hitler's assistant, and then Hitler. I called the authorities who came to take the bodies away. This happened twice. I was trying to sleep in my bedroom. Hitler and his assistant were in a room adjacent to mine. They broke in through the closet, but once again I wrested their gun from them and shot them.